Welcome back.
And we're back.
MyBottleShop.com.
That's it.
We got Seb the Cladder in.
Rock the Viking.
Rock the Viking.
Yep.
We're here for another YouTube video review.
What have we got today, sir?
Well, we got a lot of, guess what? Lark whiskey from Tasmania lined up here, Seb.
Nice.
And this is a Tasmanian whiskey, the most, Australia's most famous, I guess, whiskey,
Yes,
and the
that's
first whiskey.
Yes,
and
that's
we're
right.
going to be doing a review today on the Lark. This is a new whiskey from Lark.
Yeah.
It's called the Symphony Number 1.
Numero uno.
So what should people do?
Stay tuned!
Stay tuned! Lark has a long history in Australia,
They do.
so
do.
they're probably the first.
Yeah.
When you're ever talking about whiskey, everybody sort of probably knows about Lark Distilling, and it's had a bit of a, it'd be fair to say that over the years it's had a bit of a rocky road. It's had a lot of incarnations and a lot of changes, and
not all smooth sailing.
no, and in fact it's a. We were talking about this the other day. It's actually a publicly listed Australian company on the ASX.
Yeah.
LRK.
That's pretty big.
Yeah,
That's pretty
LRK,
big.
and I do own a few shares in that. So
Oh.
I hope this Lark whiskey sells well.
This is sponsored, is it?
Sponsored. Well, actually, thanks to Lark, they did send us up a bottle of this Symphony Number 1
Thanks,
whiskey.
guys.
Yeah, thank you for that. But we will review it without fear nor favour.
That's
so,
right.
so even though
As we do.
even though we love the guys down at Lark and we love their work, it's the quality of the juice inside the bottle
That's what
that
counts.
matters. Yeah. Now, listen, you're going to give us a bit of a history. I guess about Lark. Hopefully, you are anyway.
Yeah. Well,
and what its long storied history is.
Yeah, long story short, because I guess a lot of people know is Australian known from down in Tasmania. Her head distiller, or old head distiller, Bill Lark, and he started with his daughter. They've since sold it off.
They're not there, so Bill Lark's
But
not there
no,
anymore.
he did come back. He does work there again, at some sort of like an advisory or some small capacity. So he's still got involved with them, which is really good.
Yep.
But it's no longer his, or all his, I should say.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, going back, basically, the House of Lark, they're actually the first Australian distillery to produce a single malt whiskey down in Tasmania in over, I think, 154 years. That was back in 1992, the year I was born. So it's, it's quite old.
Old like you, mate.
Not that old, mate. Not that old. I'm not going great just yet. But they were actually
1992.
Yeah, 1992, and they were actually the first,
years.
Australian licensed distillery for some years as well. So, after everything kind of went out of fashion, they brought it back. They spent a good 2 years, I guess, refining and crafting the single malt, and making what is the first, I guess, single malt.
Is this what, like the I think it's
Classic,
one of the classic cask,
that's
right?
it, classic
That's
cask,
it.
yes.
So you'd say this classic cask was basically. What did you say? Australia's first single malt, basically.
Australia's first single malt. That was released commercially in 1994. So that was a pretty big deal then. Now, fast forward to now, we're actually trying the first blended malt whiskey that they've created. So they've been creating single malt whiskies since then, the whole time.
So this one, you're saying. This one's a blended malt.
Yes, correct.
So this has got more than one malt whiskey in it.
So now they are known as the House of Lark, or the Australian Whiskey Holdings, and they own distilleries like Nant, Overeem.
Well, sorry, no, I know this from my shareholders meeting.
There you go.
Yeah,
You tell us then.
Yeah, Nant is right, but Overeem's gone.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
longer
and they're not called Australian
That's
Whiskey
true.
Holdings. It's Lark Distilling now.
Right.
So I know they're going through a big rebrand.
Yeah. They're known as the House of Lark.
Oh,
now,
House of Lark, I like that.
Yeah.
I like
They've got
that.
a few other brands as well.
Yeah.
So Gin Brand
They do the
40
gin.
Spotted, which you want to show the guys.
That's actually a lovely gin, and this
Yeah.
this is, I think, is this a limited edition one?
Yeah,
I think this is a limited edition one,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
What's this? A summer one. It looks nice. Nice
Yeah.
packaging. Beautiful
Australian
big heavy
citrus.
glass. Oh, Australian citrus. There you go.
This is just the normal
Wow,
rare.
Rare dry gin.
rare
It's
dry
Australian dry gin. It's pretty good gin actually.
Yeah,
This.
yeah.
And I know I sent you a sneak preview of the new packaging the other day,
You did.
didn't I?
Yes.
And when this gets repackaged, it's going to be a very, very impressive looking product.
Yeah.
And the juice inside, we've sold quite a bit of Lark gin here, and it's good stuff, right?
Yes, it is. It's lovely.
Great and tonic,
Lovely.
and these citrus gins and the winter gins, whatever they do, are lovely as well.
Yeah. They always release a few seasonal gins, which after the season's finished, pretty much go out the door. But the review on this, it's been quite interesting. Like, how many good Tasmanian whiskies do you know of, Rock? There's so many.
Mate, a lot.
Yeah. Now, why do you reckon most good Australian whiskey comes from Tasmania?
Well, I'll tell you.
Do you know why?
I would say one reason for sure is the water.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I'd say the other thing is they seem to grow a lot of barley down there.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So I'd say water and barley.
Yeah, and I guess what good old Bill Lark kind of founded, and why I guess Lark is, so most of the whiskey down in Tasmania is so good, is they've kind of realised that they've combined all that ingredients with science, of course. So the barley, like you said, that pure water that they got down there. They also got peat bogs up in the highlands of Tasmania.
Okay, yes.
So they
And I think they do it, or they used to do a peated whiskey. There's no peated whiskey here, though,
there's no peated whiskey here, but it's they do use it.
Right.
Incorporate it into all of their whiskies. Pretty much.
So is it fair to say that, like, maybe the cask, like the classic cask, got a little bit of smoke? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, we're soon going to find out. But apparently so.
Now, look, the only thing I must say is you mentioned before it's a blended malt.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't say on here, I don't think. It says it's crafted from a symphony of complementary casks, and head distiller Chris Thompson has expertly woven the complexity of American oak bourbon with the balance of sherry and the heavier depth of a port to form a creamy, oily melody of flavours and a malt whiskey that's full of life from start to finish. But I'm not clear what's in here.
Yeah. Whoa.
Well, I know if it comes from different casks, are they all Lark casks?
Yeah. That's the question, isn't
Right. Well, that's the question.
And that is a further debate, which we're not going to get into today, because I'm sure people in the know have read all about it.
We won't get in the know, but I'm guessing some of this, and I could be wrong about this, I'm guessing some of this is Lark barrels and some's Nant barrels.
Could be.
Right?
Well,
Overeem's gone, I think, unless they kept some leftover Overeem stock.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any other, they don't own another brand. So it has to really be from that. And I suppose they're doing a bit of a mix, so they might have Lark bourbon barrels and Lark sherry barrels, and maybe Nant sherry barrels, and Lark oak bourbon.
I think Tawny is Tawny
as well.
They've got some barrels from Tawny in there. I have read. So
okay.
Mate, I can't wait to tuck into this.
Well, what we're going to do, I've just pulled this out of the crazy package.
There we go.
The other problem with these little bottles, which we're just finding out here,
that's right.
They do these
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A. They do these amazing little bottles. I don't know if you can see that on YouTube there, but they're really cool, right? They're
100
mil, right? It's a 100 mil bottle. Yeah. Mate, if you want to slip that, look at that, I can slip that into my pocket. Look at that. It's great.
Anywhere.
Right? The only problem is, don't ever try and stand it up on the table, because it will literally fall straight over, right?
Yeah, it's
hopeless. But I think the idea behind it, mate, slipping in your jacket pocket.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's meant to stick around, right? That's
100 mil.
100 mil, one sitting size. And,
well, it's 230 mils, 60 mil, right? So you get three dreams out of that.
Last too long,
did you, just before we split to break open this, did you want to just quickly mention?
Oh yeah, what we got here?
Yeah, because you got some cracking whiskies here. I see this Wolf in the Willows edition 3 release.
Yep. That won't be around for too long.
Only 1,800 bottles, right?
Very limited edition.
I'm just going to crack that open. Comes in a nice packaging.
Yeah, these boxes are amazing.
Yeah, it's really a nice packaging. Again, I don't know if you can quite see that on there, but that's a nice packaging.
Yeah, they're all 500 mil, the standard size.
That's a good point. 500 mil. Yep.
Yeah, if anyone playing at home.
Yeah, and lovely, like, same bottle style with this tin bottle, I guess, but it's got a nice purple. My favourite colour, purple.
Favourite colour.
Yep, it's bottle number 42 of 1810, so it's handwritten on the side. And Seb, you've got a couple other.
So the next one we've got here is the cask strength. I think this is sitting at about 58%. If you want to take that closer.
Oh, 58%. Yeah,
it's a cask strength, so got a bit of punch, that one.
I can see even just pulling it out of the box.
Yeah, look how dark it is.
It's a lot darker. Yeah, I don't know if you can pick that up on YouTube, but. I'm a nervous wreck about bumping these little bottles here. Right? I'll put this back here and just try and hold that up a little bit.
Yeah, so you can see that. And the last one we got here is the classic cask. So as you can see, you know, all these are available in the small sizes. You know, if you want to try it,
in these little sizes,
you don't want to go ahead and commit to buying a full-size bottle.
Aren't these like $30 or something, or $40?
Yeah, they're very cheap. You know, I don't know if it's
$45,
but they are, you know, considerably cheap. Yeah, affordable.
Very affordable.
If you just, you know, want a taster or you know, for a gift. You know,
what's that? The classic cask. Yeah. So this is the original Australian single malt whiskey. This bad boy right here.
That's it. The first Australian single malt.
Right. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll cut. And then we'll just come back after this break, and we're going to pour out the Symphony number 1, and we're going to give it a good tasting.
Give it a nice nudge.
We're going to give it a bit of a nudge, a bit of a touch up, and come back and give it a My Bottle Shop mark out of 100.
Sounds good. We'll see you soon.
See you now.
This is a new experiment for them and fairly new territory, so it is quite interesting, and I'm very interested to see, you know, how this comes out, you know, as opposed to their more traditional single malts.
Well, it's got a again, you know, beautiful little corked bottle there with the wooden stopper on the top, and that thin, classy presentation. It was easy to pour that, unlike some of the bottles we've had here, like Nicker from the barrel. It's impossible to get out of the bottle, right? It was quite easy to pour into the glass.
Yeah, geez, you can smell those American oak barrels in there, can't you? Like a bourbon almost.
It's very bourbony, isn't it?
Yeah. Wow.
Wow, yeah.
Very creamy, hints of like honeycomb, vanilla, a little bit fruity, I guess.
I definitely get a sweet honeycomb.
Yeah.
Almost notes of sort of, I almost get like apple, to be honest.
Yeah.
Crisp apple.
Yeah. Oh, if this was a blind tasting, I'd think this is a bourbon. Off the nose, honestly.
I hear what you're saying. I really do.
I'm
interested in it in my mouth to see what it tastes like because honestly,
that nose is incredible.
Yeah, it's a bourbon nose. Good. Damn good call out.
Yeah.
So you might be easily fooled for thinking this was, you know, Buffalo Trace or something, right? Or,
that's right. Interesting.
Old Forester or something.
Yeah.
All right, let's give it a bit of a taste now and see what it's like in the mouth. See if it is a bourbon in the mouth.
Definitely not a bourbon in the mouth, but wow, I like that.
Oh, I think it's a little bit. I find it a little bit short on my palate.
Yeah.
What's the percent on this?
40.2.
40.2 is it? Oh yeah, 40.2. Yeah. Gripped my mouth, so a lot of tannins and bite on that whiskey.
Yeah.
What are you sort of getting on the palate?
I'm getting on the palate. It's tastes like a bit like kiwi fruit, a little bit.
Right. Well, I said apple on the nose.
Yeah, apple on the nose.
Which is that sort of fruitiness, right? There's definitely fruitiness there.
Yep. Almost like a cake of some sort. Not dark berries like, you know, your traditional, I guess, more fruitier whiskey.
I get that like what's the word, like custard apple?
Yeah.
I know not many people probably. I don't know whether people.
It's
kind of. Well, back in my days in Queensland, there was custard apples growing everywhere, right? And I noticed on your notes that you had, one of the things I saw on the tasting or palate notes for this was it had a waxy palate.
Yeah,
I 100% get that.
That's right.
I get that.
That's true.
How do you put it? Almost dries up your mouth.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I think I agree with you on the short. I guess the mid.
Short, a little bit waxy.
Yeah. It doesn't stick around.
No.
It does grab your mouth, but it's not.
The second one's a bit easier, but I'd say, you know, and we haven't got down on the finish.
Yeah.
Would you say you wouldn't class as a bourbon now? Would you?
Not at all.
But it's got a strong bourbon flavour to it, though, hasn't it?
Yeah. I think it's those American oak barrels.
Yeah, so really I think there'd be American oak, and probably maybe if they're broken down American bourbon barrels. That they've imparted a lot of flavour into this, so maybe I would say there may be smaller barrels. So you know, I know they've got the Tasmanian. I think it's the Tasmanian Barrel Company down there. I've actually been down in there, and they get the big, they get big Maker's Mark and Jim Beam and Jack Daniel's barrels.
Really?
Yeah, and then according to the requirements of the distillery, they break these massive bourbon barrels down in, you know, really small barrels, and we've got some here that are like 20 litres and 50 litres and 100 litres. And you've got to think about, if you've broken down a strong bourbon barrel and a small barrel to produce one of these small batch whiskies, that bourbon inside there is going to impart a lot of flavour into the whiskey. And that may be the case here. I don't know.
Good
It could
point.
be, could be
Good
Nant,
point.
could be
Yeah.
Nant bourbon barrels, and they've used smaller barrels, and it's imparted more of the bourbon flavour in there from the American oak. So American oak bourbon.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
I mean, are you picking up much sherry?
Not really, no.
I'm not getting a lot of sherry.
No.
You almost say suburban cask whiskey, right?
Yeah, what about the tawny that's supposedly been there?
I mean, there's a bit of fruit in there. You're getting that fruit. So
a little
maybe,
bit of fruit.
you know what, if it is a blended malt,
Yeah.
and there is a bit of tawny in there, you know,
It's a touch.
well, it's a touch, and maybe that's giving you your fruit notes. You know what I mean?
Now, what does the official one say? So, fruits, creamy,
Oh.
waxy, custard,
melons,
and flowers, melons.
florally,
Yeah.
Gummy bears.
Gummy bears on
Gummy
the nose.
bears?
Yeah, on the nose. Yeah, on the nose. I mean,
Gummy bears.
yeah, I
There
don't
you
know
go.
about that.
I don't know about gummy
yeah.
bears.
Orangey. You know, people have said that for the ABV, it's only 40.2. It's a surprise finish.
What's been the?
I don't really think it's that much of a surprise. I mean, it's 40.2. It doesn't really hang around, so
It doesn't hang around, but it's got a bit of a burn to it.
yeah, a little bit of a burn,
And a
that's
bit
right,
of substance to it.
Yeah,
Bit of a short finish, but still a nice,
Yeah.
warming finish down.
Yeah, that's right. And I do agree with what you said before. The second sip and the more you drink, the easier it becomes to drink. And I guess, you know, you've
Well, I've just had another couple of sips there, and it's you know.
It's opened up a little bit.
Yeah, it's now let's just put a couple of drops of water in there. You can see it sort of open up with the oils on top of the whiskey.
You know what? The more it opens up, I guess the more the fruits come out.
Yeah,
a
of
little bit
course.
more.
Yeah, that's right.
So now it does taste like an orange passion fruit cake, which is what they got down here, which I do agree with.
I mean, look, I think for 40.2, like I put a bit of water in that. I don't think it's done a lot for it.
Yeah.
It's just taken maybe a bit of the warmth out of the finish, but I'd say something like that.
Agreed.
Maybe just sip it straight up.
Yeah.
Just have it in a dram.
Yeah. 40.2
after dinner or whatever.
Doesn't need any water.
No, it doesn't need a lot of water. Yeah. Now listen, what we need to do now. Now you were saying before, because you're a member of the whiskey forums, or you follow the whiskey forums or whatever. What's been the general reception in the marketplace for this symphony? Or feedback from the punters?
Look, people, I guess, for the reduced price point in comparison to
140 Australian, right? Is that right? Yeah,
something
reduced
like that.
Yeah, something 130, whatever.
But in comparison to a lot of the other releases from Lark that like most other Australian whiskies, not very cheap at all. It's been good in comparison.
Yep.
People were enjoying that.
Yep. This is like a half or a third of what you could pay.
Yeah.
There's so many Australian whiskies you can pay $300 easy.
Yeah, that's right.
Easy.
Prices are through the roof.
Easy.
Now,
I mean,
so
I know they've got a lot of production costs and whatever out there, but not everybody can afford a $300 whiskey.
That's right.
Unless it's unless it's your wedding or
Well,
you get
we're talking about Sullivan's Cove. $300 doesn't get you much.
Well, Sullivan's Cove, that's right. You can't get it, and even if you could, it wouldn't be $300. But there's other ones like Springbank, and we actually upstairs when we do our new YouTube. A den up there. There'll be some section.
Soon.
That's right. There'll be a section on Tasmanian whiskies, and there'll be a few different Tasmanian whiskies there.
Yeah.
So what we might do, Sev, is we're going to come back in a minute, and we're going to give this a My Bottle Shop mark out of 100.
Sounds good.
All right, we're back with the My Bottle Shop mark out of 100.
Yeah.
So.
You were just saying this was going to be a bit tricky for you.
Yeah. In the intermission there, it was. Some of them are just sort of straight up, and other ones are a little bit tricky. So I had to give this one a bit of thought because I like the packaging, I like the product, I like the company, I like the Bill Lark, I like the whole story. There's been a few bumps along the road, but I think this is not bad. Yeah. You're paying still premium for Australian whiskey though, because there's plenty of Scottish whiskies.
You can't escape that.
You can't escape that, right?
Yeah, you can't escape that.
But I've got to judge this on as a tasted. But I'm going to probably give it a few extra points. Yep. Just because it's a Tasmanian product.
Yes, right.
So it's probably getting.
Are you from Tasmania?
Yeah, well, it's probably a touch higher than what. What do you got? Seb?
I got 82, right?
Oh!
82. I think the point of it being the price point of all Australian whiskey at the moment, for a 40.2 percentage whiskey, I think it's fairly good. It's a good drop. And the fact that it's out of Tasmania.
Yeah, and that's right. And if you pull this out somewhere with it sort of party or your guests come over or whatever, You know, even though
disappointed with that.
No, and it's a pretty classy looking product as well. The packaging's impressive.
Yeah.
You pull that out, people are going to go, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's going to colour people's judgment of how the whiskey tastes.
But just going back to that's right. But going back to the actual taste for a 40% whiskey, you know, I think it's tastes pretty good.
Yeah, you know, funnily,
so
I've given it also an 82.
There you go.
So we don't look at each other's marks.
No,
we do that independent. Yeah. So we've given it the exact same score, which happens sometimes. Yeah. But I think that says, you know, it's a good product. Yeah. I think, you know, both you and I have probably, you know, truthfully added another 4 points on there. Yeah. You know, from 78 to 82. Because it is a great packaging, Tasmanian Pride. We love the guys at Lark. Yeah. We want the company to do well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Especially
you.
Yeah, well. Especially me, that's right. But not only that, just supporting, you know, it's 2020 now if you're watching this video, and, you know, it's been a tough times for the hospitality industry and, you know, coronavirus and whatever. So if we can have these Australian, effectively these guys are almost like farmers, right? And they employ locals or whatever. So yeah, we want to give support, but that's no excuse. They got to have a good product.
That's right. Yep. And look, if it was that bad, we wouldn't hold back. We'd tell you it's terrible. Yeah. But you know, for its price point, it's pretty darn good.
All right, Sev. Well, we probably rambled on a bit towards the end here, but we love having a bit of a chat there. Now, I'd say we've got to do the button because we need you guys to subscribe, so we can get our subscriber count up. Yeah. You know.
So let's do L because it's Lark.
Lark.
I want them to let loose.
Let it loose.
I'd say
lunge onto the button.
Lunge on that button.
Yeah, land on the button.
Land on the button. That's pretty cool.
Come on, Sev. You normally win these. Come on, mate. You've been in Dubbo all weekend, and you've lost your luster.
Do a bit of a loop on the button.
Loop on the button. All right. Okay. So I definitely win that one, and you picked the L. Yeah. You're going to think of good ones afterwards too, aren't you?
Right. I'll go home and I should have said that.
Damn, I should have said that. Yeah. All right.
That's the fun of that. So.
All right, Sev. Sev the Clavering, Rock the Viking. Yeah. MyBossShop.com.
Once again, thank you so much for watching this and being a part of.
Staying to the end. Hopefully, it's not too boring.
Yeah, that's it.
Cheers.
Cheers.